Yay! What's up, American Gods fans? We are talking the finale of season 3. It's so crazy. We're already at the end. I'm Kari Lane, joined by my awesome co-host this way. Got Flobo in the house.
What's up, Kari Lane? Hey.
Well, the digital house. I was gonna say digital house.
Yeah. It's all the same complex.
Yeah, my American Gods shirt from Comic-Con years ago.
Respect.
Finale. So the Tears of the Wrath-Bearing Tree finale, 10 episodes. How'd you feel about the finale,
Flobo? This is gonna be me being the broken record of all broken records, but I am torn because on one hand, this is a really cool twist that you may have not seen coming, but definitely puts a whole new wrinkle on the thing, the proceedings of what it means for this upcoming war. But you gave it to me on episode 10 of an extended season of an extended storyline. And I'm just like, oh, this is pretty good writing for this episode, but how much can we stretch this out, Kari? So I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. Not in the fence. I'm on the fence.
You're part of the tree and part of the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good finale, but it sucks that it's so open-ended. And I think as of yet, and if you know anybody else, if you're watching this later and you have new info, please comment down below. As of last I saw, there wasn't necessarily 100% confirmation that there is another season or not. It was kind of this weird on the fence. You know, I think we had thought there would be a 4th season, but it's not necessarily easy to access that information for it to be like, yes, absolutely, there's a season 4. It feels a bit more like, and it's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, we're assuming there's going to be a season 4.
Yeah. Right? Oh, I know. She's yelling about it. Yes, I know.
And another thing I tell you.
Give me a season 4. Give me. I know. That's my dog. Anybody's listening.
Hey.
Yeah. So I think it was a good. I agree. It was very exciting, very engaging, but it is one of those like, what? Fine. That's it. Okay. We have Bilquis a little bit, who's involved a tiny bit at the beginning there. She has to go find the soulmate, talking with the midwife who helped with Shadow's birth. So that was very interesting. I did like that she saw the peacock, because remember we saw that before and I was like, how is this tying into anything? So I'm glad it was kind of essentially a guide for her.
True. I forgot about Eugenia. I was like, oh yeah, that was a whole episode for that.
She was so fun. Yeah.
Cool. Soulmate. I mean, it's visually implying it's Laura Moon, and at first I was kind
of like, right. How do you feel about that? I was like,
at first I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Are you gonna make this happen? They're gone their separate ways. I'm taking my solace in this, but we'll get to the end scenes and now what that means for a season 4, theoretical season 4. I understand why Laura's part of this, but at first I was like,
so why is Laura part of this?
Well, it's one of those things where if again, if I'm jumping too far ahead, just stop me there. But if it is a giant trick, the ultimate trick by your man Odin or Mr. Wednesday saying, I need a blood sacrifice and martyr, well, there's a reason then Shadow can go and say, I'm back to not caring. Even with, I realized the journey I was on, I realize now my powers, now there's a reason why I don't like you again, coupled with somebody who was screwed over twice by an old god faction and the new god faction in Laura Moon. Now you have two kindred spirits that are back against the wall, against the world. But to get there, I was like, oh, Laura, I thought we were done with her.
Right? Yes. I love this location, established in 1918. The center of the U.S. is somewhere in Kansas, and it's like, I don't feel there's a big appeal to that either. I'm like, that's cute that they thought it would be a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the spot where I'm blanking on the name, but the one where all 4 states where you can be right, like that's actually kind of interesting. Like literally hop from one state to another.
Yeah.
Sure. I've never gone. I haven't cared, but I'm like, that seems more interesting than the center. Like, okay.
I feel so bad for all of our Kansas brethren because they made a lot of lame places look dope. With diners and hotels and motels, but this place is Kansas. Like, wow. It's whatever. You know, I get it, but yeah, it was kind of a weird place to put everything, it being due center. I'm not sure that counts Alaska, but the United States.
And Hawaii too. It's like, you know. Well,
right.
the content, yeah, that section, sure.
Yeah.
How nobody cared, and it is a soulless void. The way House on the Rock is the opposite of that. Though House on the Rock, seeing that, and I think I'd seen a news something on that once before. I'm like, okay, that actually looks cool. That I'd randomly go to that place just for that because it looks cool.
The Center American Hotel, by the way.
Not there. Not the center of the U.S.
Hotel. Yeah.
I did like though that essentially is a dead zone for god powers. Like it makes sense. Like that should have been a safe zone. That I agree. Why didn't Odin just have his meeting there? Because I think there's other planning going on.
True. Very John Wick.
Yep, we got our Cordelia giving Shadow the update, and Shadow didn't know about Laura, so I always like those characters. They're like, by the way, let's have everybody on the same page. It's like, oh, cool, good to know.
No, that's the one I want to see end up with Shadow is Cordelia, but even though she's not a fan of she's not heterosexual. But I thought it was kind of interesting for me. I want your thoughts about this. She threw in a puta, which I didn't realize she was Hispanic.
So
I was like, is that?
I felt she was definitely a ethnically ambiguous character. I didn't feel she was white, but there was no other indication along the way that I recall that stood out to know her ethnicity or any cultural background. So yeah, that was interesting. Like, oh, but that's still very broad too, just to say one word in another language. It's like, but that could be from different countries. So I would want to know more. Can we know more about this person and her background?
Yeah, as a Brooklyn kid, I know a lot of swear words in a lot of different languages.
That too, right? It's like you could have just picked it up anyway. So I don't know. I'd want to know more. And then we have Ibis as well, hanging out with Shadow, which was interesting. I mean, I guess he's a good like broker person. You know, he's very neutral in a way, and a good person to document stuff. We have his scene later where he's writing about Shadow. So.
Things always pick up when Ibis is around. He's like the Greek chorus of things, you know? Yeah, there's always action, but when there's Ibis writing, you're like, what's going down?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know.
Yes. I like Laura and Mr. World interacting and like, oh, yeah, you're here because you're safe. I'm going to hide their collusion. I'm just like, yeah. I really wanted later when she was hiding underneath Wednesday's body for her to come out and be like, yo, it's all set up.
Yeah. Yo, this just in, man. They screw you over.
I really kind of wanted that scene.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool for the uncut version. No, I think it's interesting that Laura saw this new Mr. World and was like, who the hell are you? Oh, you're not Danny Trejo. Oh, but I believe everything you say. Just kidding. I'm going to the vents.
Yes. I love though that she does her escape. She's like, you can't keep me here. And conveniently she's tiny AF that she can like, let me crawl through a vent and
Die Hard.
Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Or Mission Impossible. That's Mission Impossible. I like Chernobyl not giving a fuck about anything, but he wants to help with tradition and honor Wednesday. Also getting some on his downtime.
I mean, we were saying, I think it's a little off air. I was like, okay, you saw the male gaze. I'm like, okay, maybe it might be a thing. But I was like, well, why not? You have nowhere to go. You're in Kansas.
Yeah.
Why not have some extracurricular activities?
Also, I like that the lady's just like, oh, it's so busy. And you're like, really? No, it's not. But I bet she doesn't see many other new people. So, yeah. Oh, I like that. I just had to get new towels. Well, girl, come on.
You got to lie to yourself. Go get some.
Yeah, exactly. Go get some. It's fine. The Shadow makes a great point. He has the line that he was saying, no, he's going to honor Wednesday and do the walking around the tree because if I walk with him, greatness will be mine.
No, hold on. Why is Chernobyl throwing the shade and hate? He's like, this clown's doing the vodka favota. Like, what? Yeah. Are you doing it? You know?
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
He's just grumpy and likes throwing shade all the time and causing problems. Yeah, because he's just mad that Shadow won't kill Laura. But all things considered, you could just be like, not right now. I have to do some other things. I have a plan on this. So I don't know. It was really like, okay, dude, give him some slack.
Yeah.
So one when we get Shadowy is another vision. So that horseback in the snow turns out to be Wednesday. So, okay. But here's my thing where I'm a little concerned with Wednesday / wishes. I mean, this isn't wishes, but a long parallel to wishes. Greatness will be mine. You could be a legend and be dead and be great.
True.
Just saying, just because greatness does not mean you'll be alive and happy to enjoy it. So it's like, Shadow, did you think about this one that much?
I don't. It's one of those things where like visually they've tried to make us understand Shadow, say despite how crazy this person was on at least 3 years that we've been on this journey, that it is my destiny, it is my background and stuff. But it's really, if you take a look, and if I was describing the story just as a story without showing the visuals, it's kind of hard of a pill to swallow. To see Shadow be like, all right, what's in with you? Don't mind the field of slaves who are eyeing me.
I kind of wondered that was, I kind of felt that was a moment of, if he stayed with them, he would be stepping into a different power. Not necessarily be a bad thing to stay and not go with Wednesday. Like, I feel this is the other side of gods of his that we haven't tapped into yet, maybe. But yes.
I didn't quite see it that way, but I like your interpretation better. Because to me, it looked like those people were looking for him to lead them, but he rather would submit to his dad and hop on the back and caress the hips of Mr. Wednesday. So I was like, okay, cool, awkward.
Yeah, I kind of thought that they wanted him to lead them, and it would be a different kind of awakening for his powers, but we don't get that, so we'll see. Because that was our thought too, that maybe he could be connected to the gods of America or newer ones too. So we shall see. Speaking of Shadow, we have him and Cordelia kind of having a sweet moment of remembering Wednesday and how much, like, saying bad things about him, but like, we still like the guy. He was an asshole, but
right.
And I feel like that's maybe how people let it go in memorials and such, like, just to say it all out there.
That's what I want for my eulogy. Not so much saying I'm an asshole. Please don't do that. But he'll be honest and be like, oh, he messed up here and here, but ultimately he's a good person.
Right. I feel that's kind of a good thing. I like that Laura gets to listen in on all that. And the pretty much a weird meeting of brokering peace. And come on. Who's still trusting Mr. World that he is so slimy? I really want more people to be giving him the side eye of, I don't know. They really seem to be like, okay, sure. I'm like,
I got a question about Mr. Worlds. Was it the right call to have different forms of Mr. World this season? Did it pay off for you anyway?
I kind of would have wanted a third one, maybe, because I liked the change at the start, because it made sense of like, okay, we're adjusting, we're changing with the times. And even Technical Boy, I like how he addressed it. Like, all right, that's more on brand now. And then the Danny Trejo one felt like, all right, I'm going to be the tough guy and get stuff done. Like, I would have wanted a third one to finish it out. Like, it was almost, I mean, I like that actor. It's Crispin. No, I'm like,
Crispin Glover, yeah.
I liked him at the end, essentially pulling it back in, but maybe I would have wanted one more, and then he shifts into his final form or back to his original one. Like, it just felt like maybe like sexy boss lady, and then would be a cool form. I don't know what actress I would have picked, but like another, like strong, powerful female character, because then we would get that like he could be anybody vibe. Yeah. But to go quickly back to his original form felt almost like, so why did you change if you're just gonna go back?
Excuse me, Mr. World, I have a question.
Hey, Mr. World, I have a question.
I felt the same way.
Asked, like, you're changing your look, and he says, oh, I look in the mirror and see what I need to be, kind of a thing. But I felt the shift from who he was before was because it wasn't working. So it's weird to come back to a thing that wasn't working.
I agree, especially with the evolution of, I guess, new media before it disappeared this season. Having media change new media seemed like it was like a one-time change, like a reform. And so when we saw the change from Danny Trejo back to any form in that one scene, remember we were approaching artifact number 1, I was like, wait, if you can change at will, then why, one, you don't change every episode?
Yes, or two, like that could have been cool.
Yeah, but what? Yeah, exactly. Or what is drawing you to change every time? It just seemed that was now more ambiguous,
Yes.
given season went on.
Agreed. What are your thoughts, people watching, listening? Leave a comment down below. Yes, thank you everybody also on that. Thank you everybody who's commented on previous videos and joined in the discussion as well. Really appreciate all of your feedback on the show and sharing in our love of it. And now we're at the end. It's so sad. Yes. Okay, Laura and Shadow, their debate on like what is your purpose to go on with life was so interesting. And I'm with Shadow of like, don't you be pinning this on me that you did this for me and you're just a sad and depressed person. Because yes, it really sucks to see her in a rut, and it sucks when people are in a rut. But for her, I need her to either be like, all right, fine, I'm just gonna like, she needs to accept who she is or change. Like, it's so hard to watch her be so, you know, dysfunctional, spiral in on herself that either she needs to accept that, like, all right, well, then that's just how I am. If you don't like it, you don't like it, or change because it's not working for her.
These are one of the casualties of having the extended season, in my opinion, because I felt that if it was 6 or 8 episodes, that would be literally coming back from hell and getting your life back. That would be the inciting incident you would need. But now, to get to this finale and this debate or conflict that Shadow has with whether he's going to kill his ex-wife, has to have a little bit of the, what are you doing it for? I did it for you, to reestablish what Laura Moon was. And I don't quite buy it. And she fought kind of low and she's like, you're going to end up like your daddy. It's like, for real? Like, it was so uncalled for. So uncalled for. Also,
no faith in your man. Come on, girl. Of him saying, oh, you don't think I can do it? And there is a way to approach that better. I think you can, but I feel it's too dangerous to risk it. Boom. Yeah. You know, I didn't like that. Made me that conversation continued to make me unhappy with her.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on purpose.
So much at the beginning because I liked it when she embraced it and was like, dead Laura, dead wife, and with Sweeney, like that Laura I liked because she just embraced who she was and did not give a fuck about anything and just did her thing. And I actually like that more than this weird, she's adrift. She doesn't really know what she's doing. And that's the problem.
That is the problem. Although there are some rumors have been swirling about Liam being a reincarnated Sweeney. If that would be a nice little twist where that might bring her back to being like, I guess not pre-death lore, like right after death lore.
Well, then that's good because they did have a connection. I kind of hoped, not that someone needs to fix you, but it is always nice to have someone in your life to make you feel better. And I felt like he brought out good stuff in her and gave her, or at least showed her different perspectives.
Yeah, I heard that true love is not the person that tries to change you, but the one that makes you decide how to improve yourself.
Exactly. Like, I think their moment in the church when he asked the question of you need a purpose after this, or he asked her a couple other things, and I think it was somebody like that made her start thinking about it and going, oh, you're right. And because she's very much not listening to anybody else's attitude, so we'll see. So what do you think of Laura having the dreams and visions of maybe a shadow and then turned into Bilquis?
Yes. So
here's the scene.
Yeah, and it was like very.
Hi.
It was kind of wholesome. It was like glam, Laura.
Yeah. Oh, she looked so pretty, and yeah, you just want the best for her. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, to me that was actually perhaps ironically more of a Bilquis moment, right? This season was always find me Shadow Moon, find Shadow Moon, and if this soulmate thing is to be Laura, it's to be believed, it will make sense that Bilquis, being the provider of what she provides, I guess, will like put herself on that side too. I'm glad because again, Laura has been so unlikable for me. The fact that she is now unfortunately at a plot point at this point, I would rather accept that at this juncture than me rooting for Laura outright. That can change. Things can happen next season or next episode or the 2-hour finale movie season doesn't come out of it. But right now, I think that scene with Bilquis was definitely a reminder. It goes, oh wait, she's actually for the greater good.
Yeah, I think it's a unique way that Bilquis found her, but that kind of makes sense of this creation and love god and goddess who found her through dreams, and then like that essentially brought her there, because then she shows up and is like, oh good, I'm glad I found you. So that makes me think that Bilquis and Laura are going to maybe go to Shadow's rescue, and he will be the damsel in distress and get rescued by these ladies. That's what I'm hoping.
Nice.
Yes, we'll see.
I mean, he needs to be saved. Let's be honest.
Yes, I think he needs some assistance, which is fine. Everybody can accept a little assistance now and then.
So if I was stuck in a tree, can I call you?
Sure. Nice. Go bring my axe and like.
I was like, hey, Karen, remember that one time you said it was okay? I'm cashing it in.
I'm like, I think I have. Let me see. I was like, do I have a saw? No, I'm just kidding. What did you think of the Norns who care for the tree?
Creepy.
They were interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a sign when Shadow was asking, like, is it going to be okay? Like, do you change your mind? I'm like, that's not what he was asking him. Like, oh my goodness. Well, you know what? If that's what you're doing, that's what you're trained for. This is something that you've been waiting millennia to do. So you must be like prepped and hyped. So props to them and their dedication. But I was unnerved.
Yeah, they were definitely a cool kind of creepy, which I liked. And I at first, when there were three of them, I almost thought, but they weren't old enough to be like the maiden, the woman, the crone. Like I almost thought it was doing that with the three, but I think three is still just a very symbolic number group. So I thought it was interesting that they all spoke together. I wonder how hard or easy it was for the actors to be like, all right, ready, one.
Right.
To make sure they were doing it at the same time, because it felt really cool in that way though. I like the prep with the water and the oil, the Shadow, bearing it all for us in the buff.
I'm like, man, if you're going to go put yourself out there to be exposed to the elements, might as well get a massage with essential oils quite before. So props to rub down.
I like their strategic lighting that we really just get like his shoulders and part of his back, and then shadows over his butt.
Yeah, you think that he has like that in his contract? Like, I only have 30 nude scenes this season, or
well, depending, how famous you are of what you would allow. And I think like that was a good example of tasteful nudity or strategic nudity, where he's clearly naked, but it wasn't awkward, and it still got the idea across, and it was still covered up enough for the actor. So I thought it was cool. Yeah,
I think most of the stuff in this show has been tasteful, relatively speaking.
Though I would say throwback. This is the first show having erect penises, but
yeah, well,
on the show where I'm like, wow, they go bold in one direction, and they do the gamut of all the things, everything in between.
Yeah, for everyone.
Yes, all the above. So the tree, I was a little bit concerned. Cordelia's just like, don't do this and everything, which I like her last chance of, all right, Shadow, don't do this. I was a little concerned when the tree wrapped around him, lifted him up a little bit, and then later just poke holes in him.
Yeah. Well, when he first got wrapped around, he was like grunting. I was like, oh, man up, Shadow. Come on. But then the tree was like, yeah. Oh, man. It was kind of hard to see, and it kind of transcended the symbolism I thought they were going for. But if an attack by killer tree is the way you end your season, that's how you do it.
Yes. I thought it was a great visual. It looked really cool. I didn't really keep track because I almost lost track of how many days it seemed to be. But then that wasn't really a good sense of time as well, because I think the idea is that it all kind of just blended together for him as us, the viewer, as well. So I'm like, oh, very cool. I like that he had the different visions. So he had the Yamoja, I saw them. Zoraya, also saw slaves again. And we got our Flaming Eye Buffalo back.
Right.
So I was like,
peacocks and buffaloes and slaves, and I guess Shadow as a slave master, it looked like in that vision.
Lead his people to freedom? I don't know.
Yeah, the hat on? No, I have no idea either.
That was weird. Of like, where are we going? Again, not enough info. They were like,
I was just assuming that there's like a kind of a sense of betrayal that those people had, because they were given the stink eye. Like, how could you? But it's a lot for an audience to infer, and I understand that what makes this show cool is that, like religion, is open to some interpretation. And not a crazy statement, I'm just saying in general. But I feel like this season in particular has leaned so heavily on that. It's like now you're using reference points, which are also up to open interpretation, which is also open interpretation. So either I'm on a track to something or completely off the mark because of all the scenes we've had this season.
Well, that makes sense if they're giving him the stink eye, if prior in that other vision he did go away from them, and if it's like the same essence, people, stuff. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's almost too vague that it's like, I leave your thoughts on interpretation down below. Yeah, I wrote tree stabby. Because he keeps stabbing him, and I'm like, no. So
well, I wrote Flaves were like, bruh, in that tree vision. Journalism, guys, journalism.
What do you think of the plane and Wednesday saying whatever he was saying, and if that really was him? And
this is what I'm saying. Like, to me, take it at face value, and it's a long con. Hey, I just wanted my blood sacrifice. Thank you so much. Peace out. It's like, oh, that's cold. I want to see more. We're at this long, arduous marathon, but I want to see more. But we saw so many different visions in such a short time. It's hard to say it's a vision. And on couple with that, Shadow disappears and the body and effigy of Wednesday disappears. I'm not sure what is reality, man.
Yep. Do you think he's dead? Shadow.
No. There's no way you're going to kill off Wednesday and Shadow. The movie's over. Shadow's the main character.
I was like, Shadow dead? Nah.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday's body disappears, but then a storm is rolling in, so it's like thunder and lightning.
I have a feeling that the purgatory this season was set up for Shadow's purgatory. He's going to have his own version of it.
Or it's that idea that maybe for Shadow to really come into his own, he had to die and get reborn, essentially, maybe?
Well, that works.
Like, this is I don't feel he's dead, because I kind of half thought maybe when he was pulled in by the tree, he would come out of the tree too, because that's still a possibility. I know everybody watching kind of feels like, oh, it's done, but I don't know. I was a bit skeptical. Actually, you know what, Cordelia, all things considered, I was surprised she didn't go run at the tree with an axe.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hell with this. Let's go on the trunk.
I'm coming to get you.
Yeah, does Betsy still exist now or no?
I thought it was around somewhere, but I haven't seen
it. Yeah, if the car exists, then why not? If
drive the car into the tree?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We'll see. I feel, again, super vague and not enough to really go in one direction or another. Then we have the last little bit. We have Technical Boy. I thought it was hilarious. Are you consuming raw data?
Yeah, don't judge me.
Like
cheat day.
Is that a pun, essentially? Like, literally, he's eating raw data, like the material. I just thought that was just so fun.
Yeah. I was walking with it.
Also, he finds the basement and the artifact, and essentially it's the stone to make fire. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Quite literally Artifact 1.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Which I guess, like fire is probably the first human, not invention, but way to use technology to harness and move forward. And yeah, they said you are essentially human innovation, which I like that idea more than technology, because it's even broader a term, which lends to the idea when Mr. World says, oh, you're the strongest of us all. The thing is, you just forget who you are every time, and you're a bridge between the old and the new. It's like, okay.
So is that the other long con? Like, that's the thing I want to know. Like, the time where he was being all hush-hush and QT about it, and hopefully no one overhears them, was that kind of the whole con too? Was the whole thing a setup to get Technical Boy to figure out who he was to lock him in? Or is this something kind of like the gig is up type of deal? Like, there's a little bit of consistency there. Yeah, like, I don't really know which interpretation I'm going to take on, but Liz.
I don't know. I'm very.
We're done.
That's the end of the season. Yeah. Well, here's the other two things that were really interesting. One, this is not an age of information; it's an age of manipulation. 100% true with everybody sharing information so quickly and not looking at the article, not reading the article. Please read articles before you share them.
Look, or don't read it if it features a minion in the corner. Minions mean it's completely true. Just share it with reckless abandon.
I've seen too many friends and acquaintances share articles, and like they literally they say, da, 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 da. And I'm like, did you actually read the article? Because that is 100% counter to what you just said.
Yeah. Well, this article agrees with me with the headline, so that's all I need.
Right? They just see the headline. Oi, yes. But here's the moment that I was like, oh, Mr. World starts whistling that song that Laura was trying to remember. The ba-ba, ba-ba. And I'm like, whoa, what does that mean in terms of, was Mr. World more involved in stuff that we didn't know about? Again, too open to interpretation. So I'm like,
so
okay.
I feel like now that you mention it, Mr. World has seen this path of Shadow and Laura for years, and it was kind of hanging around and manipulating things. Again, another thing I've asked, I was just two giant long cons. Like, it looks like this battle between Wednesday and World is going to happen anyway. Why there's so much collateral damage is the question I have. You know? Wow.
Yeah, it feels like maybe there's even bigger connections and planning going on that we don't know about. Maybe the whole farce of the gods fighting each other is a farce. Like, maybe they're not fighting each other as much as we think they are. I feel there's just so much more going on that we don't know. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's crumbs that don't connect to anything, but maybe do. And okay.
Well, promise we'll answer them next year. Promise.
I hope so. And then the last bit, we have Technical Boy imprisoned again.
Hey.
Yes.
What a bad day, huh?
I know. That really sucks for him. Was there anything else that stood out to you in this episode that we didn't get to?
No. I mean, we touched upon everything. We got to see some of the old gods that were left. I like Ibis. Again, I guess I'm officially disappointed we did not get Mama G in some level this season. Boo-hoos on that. But it's solid. And that's the thing. If season 3 happened, say, 6 months after season 2, or if season 2 and 3 were an extended season, I'd have been perfect. But a lot of the my gripes come from a place of impatience, right? We are just loyal to these characters. We love the story. We love where it's going. But how many times can you twist and turn to each other and wonder, are we lost? Do we not know where we're going? I want something to happen. I want a war, dang it. You promised. I go back to one of my favorite episodes, the second favorite episode of all time, that Easter one, when Odin went ham and the sky turned black. I'm like, great. And you mean tell me that it's been 2.5 years and it hasn't got there since?
Or we need Mr. World maybe to die. You know, we need a major, something has to shift. I don't know if we'll necessarily get like people on the battlefield kind of war, but I'm kind of wondering if something else, some other kind of power shift. And if so many questions unanswered that I'm like, please, can we get another season to help wrap this up of more? Because it's just so, everything feels so up in the air.
Yeah. Those does. So, poor Shadow, Cordelia, or Marguerite, or
right, that too. There's just so much we enjoy. It's like, don't leave us hanging here.
Right.
Yeah. Sweet. Oh, it's the end. Any other final thoughts that I'm like, wait, let me. That the end for this bit for season 3, Flobo. Any other comments on?
I just want to say it's always a pleasure hanging with Kari Lane, especially talking about the American God and the God Squad. It's so cool. So glad I was invited to be part of it. You know, hopefully get to do it one more time. One for the road.
Yes, same. It's so fun to talk about the show with you and dive into it, because it is one of those things, if you watch a show and you're like, I need somebody to talk to about this, and let's dive into it because there's so much that's so vague. It's like, what's going on? And
what's happening?
Everybody watching and tuning in and stuff, thank you for your comments as well. It's fun to hear other perspectives or talk about it, or people bring up points. It's like, oh yeah, that thing. And there's just a lot going on. Or it's just somebody else, you know, everybody brings a different perspective to a show to watch it. So it's cool to hear everybody's thoughts. So thank you very, very much. And Flobo, sadly, we are at the end for this show. But where can people find you online, and any other shows or things you would like to promote that you have going on?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Flobo Boyce right there, on Instagram at Flobito, and my website is flobito.com. And on Thursdays, a friend of mine, Jack Farmer, we cover professional wrestling on a show called Draped in Gold. Learn more at drapedingold.com.
Sweet. And y'all can find me over here, Kari D Lane. It's KARIDLANE. And I'm on an episode podcast with this dude. You can find on New Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Check that out on Instagram. When do people get to see a video of that?
You can release it if you want to.
There we go. This will be coming soon, y'all. Just stay tuned.
It's coming soon.
There's a podcast version of it that you can listen to, but then there's going to be video as well. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on that, Flobo. That was very fun. And we talked about a little bit of everything and everything. So, all the things.
Gonna have you back soon.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe. If you're a Winona Earp fan, I'm on a show talking about that as well. That's over on Amber Plaster's channel. If you follow me on Twitter, there's links to it there as well. And then also you can see Flobo rapping over on his TikTok. So me prompting him.
It's fine. You don't got to see that. It's cool.
Go look. It's fun. Yeah. Awesome. Yay. Well, again, thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you for the next one. All right. See ya.